I think there's a bigger story to tell about the BRICS. It's almost 3/4 of the world's population have signed on. So there was only Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. But the big one is Saudi Arabia and Iran. Now, the reason that's important is they hate America. And if you can get that picture, plus you have the Belt and Road Project, you have most of the world that's not, I'm going to hope you don't get censored with me saying this, but the world that they're going into is a non-Christian world. I'm not being, religious and all this. I'm not being political. I'm saying it's, Muslim, Hindu, Islam, and all this. So this is a very big move. It's because the world, who is not white, Anglo-Saxon, Protestant, Christian, like Australia, New Zealand, Canada, England, they're joining up against the Western currency called the dollar. And so the BRICS is not if, it's only when. Jim Rickards says it best. It's not if, it's when they switch to gold. That's what they're saying. I agree with him. But I'm not political. It's a dirty game. So I say to people, I'm not Republican or Democrat, liberal or conservative. I'm a free agent, and I say to people, get back on your own gold standard. Why wait for the government to do it for you? Just get on your own gold standard. So as you know, all of these years, I'm a broken record. Buy gold, buy silver. Not ETFs, buy gold, buy silver, the real stuff. I like Bitcoin because we have an enemy in common. It's called the federal government, the Treasury, the Fed, and Wall Street. I don't trust them. If you trust them, save dollars and get yourself a nice bond. I don't trust those guys. We borrow money to acquire hard assets like real estate. And with the proceeds, with the cash flow, the positive cash flow from my real estate, I save gold and silver. I don't save dollars. I'm very much a hard asset person. I own oil wells simply because oil is energy and economies run on energy. What happened is just recently, 2 months ago, I think Biden or the Treasury took the debt ceiling cap off so they could print more money. As soon as they could do that, stock market. This is unsustainable. I mean, this is, like it's compounding debt now. It's accelerating debt. And that's why, as you know, I'm a big gold and silver guy. I'm a hard asset person and hard oil. I don't buy much paper. I own gold companies and all stuff like this. But I don't trust the government. It's that simple. That's the thing about the 1.8 trillion in debt, new debt in 2 months, when it took 209 months to acquire the first 1.8 trillion. I've been an advocate for financial education. That's why I wrote Rich Dad Poor Dad. But the biggest asset in America today is student loan debt. In other words, America is getting rich, and thanks to Barack Obama from Hawaii. Barack Obama basically let student loan debt loose, and now it's our biggest asset of America. In other words, America is trying to survive on the backs of our college kids. If that's not criminal, I don't know what is. It just feels unconscionable. But the reason that capitalists lose and Marxists win, and most academics are Marxists. In 1965, I read this book here, The Communist Manifesto. And I left little sleepy Hawaii, and I went to school in New York City, and I woke up, Everything's not hula lands and flower lays and pineapple. But when I was in school in New York, my economics teacher had me read this book. And just recently, 39 professors at Arizona State University, just a few months ago, attacked me because I was on stage with Dennis Prager, my doctor, Dr. Radha Gopalan, who's both a doctor of acupuncture and a cardiac surgeon. Dennis Prager spoke on happiness, and I spoke on wealth. And the 39 professors came after us. So they protested. They threatened students that they would lose their grades if they came to see us. Our title was Health, Wealth, and Happiness. I wear my Marine Corps jacket. I stood on stage with this, and I said, all you school teachers out there, you should read this book to find out who you are. Well, that just infuriated them, so they came after us even worse. I still keep saying to people, put yourself on your own gold standard or silver. I have a lot of silver eagles and coins because I want to be off the grid. I want to be off the Treasury and Fed and Wall Street. I want nothing to do with those criminals. You know what I mean? As Warren Buffett's, somebody just asked, Charles Payne asked me on Fox. He says, what about Wall Street saying, I said, Warren Buffett said it best. Never ask an insurance salesman if you should buy more insurance. And it's because the Wall Street Journal is saying everything is good in S&P land. Like, how would you believe? I recommend people read this book because it was written in 1848. It's only about 50 pages, but it's influenced more people throughout the world. It's also been the reason over 100 million deaths. More people die at the hands of communists than capital. If you understand that, and like I flew this in Vietnam here, it's a helicopter gunship, and that's a story I told you before. I flew behind enemy lines just to go buy some gold, because that was in 72, and Nixon had taken the dollar off the gold standard, and gold was $35 an ounce, and it was now pushing $50 an ounce. And so I didn't know what gold was. The Americans don't know, because 1903, Roosevelt made it. So I flew behind enemy lines. I walk up to this little Vietnamese woman. The Vietnamese saying, these two Americans are going to die today. There's Viet Cong everywhere. And I walk up to the little Vietnamese woman with red teeth, and I parked this not too far from her little shack. And I said, I want to buy gold for $35. And she broke out this big red smile and said, "Spot!" I went, "What? Spot!" I went, "I have a spot on my shirt?" And that woman changed my life. Because my co-pilot and I nudging each other. We're two college graduates, and we had no idea what she was talking about. I was trying to get gold down from 50 to maybe 42, and she goes, "Spot." I had no idea what she was talking about. This is money. This is toilet paper. If I could plug my new, I don't know when it's coming out. I'm still working on it. It's called Teaching Capitalism. We're all educated by Marxists. Remember, I'm an academy graduate. I only was educated by military people, but I see the world differently. And the reason I have my board game back here, cash flow, is this is your biggest asset. The left ear and your right ear contains your brain. And the question is, who's putting information into your greatest asset? Is it a capitalist or a Marxist? And since most teachers, like my poor dad, are Marxists, they believe in labor unions and, taxes and all those others. I don't. So the thing here is this: as we approach the new year, ask yourself, what are we teaching our kids? That is the most important thing. I don't give you a Republican, a Democrat, liberal, or conservative. The question is, what are we teaching our kids? And that's why Merrick Garland, the head of the DOJ, Department of Justice, called parents terrorists, because they're wondering, why are we studying critical race theory? Why are we studying gender transitions? Why are we studying that stuff when we should be teaching kids about money and capitalism? So what are we teaching our kids? Is something I think I'll leave people with as we enjoy our summer options.